Today I really want to talk about student loans and some of the information that you should really be looking at when you're deciding on which college you want to go to. And while you may actually think about what your career might be, some things that we don't necessarily learn in high school is about some of the financial decisions that you make as a high schooler will certainly impact not only the first couple years after college, but quite frankly, it could be 10, 20, 30 years or the rest of your life. Because college is very expensive. Kudos to people who can get a scholarship, whether it's educational or athletic scholarship, but there's a lot of schools out there that can only give you partial money. There's a lot of different government programs that can give you grants, but they're not going to be able to give you a full ride to college. There's a couple things you should really take advantage of and take into account when choosing the proper college. First and foremost, get with your high school counselor. Talk to them about the different monetary incentives that certain colleges may have or different programs to get you in the best financial situation when you leave college. You're also going to want to lean on them to weigh out not only some of the educational choices that you'll have at the colleges, the different majors that you might really want to focus in or think you want to focus in, because when it comes down to it, there's so many people who think they know what they want to do after college, start studying the major that you go in and declare with, but then you end up changing it. So really take that with a grain of salt. And I also really want to let you know that you really need to take the advice of your parents when it comes to that financial information. But if they don't have it, which a lot of parents don't really know about that, then lean on your counselor once again to find out what that cost is really going to be at the end of 2 years or 4 years. Also explore junior college. A junior college can save you tens, if not $20,000, $30,000, even more than that, depending on the university, whether state or whether private or public university that you end up going to. So my advice to you is really look into a junior college program. It doesn't mean you didn't live up to expectations. It simply means that maybe you don't want to graduate with tens and twenties or maybe hundreds of $1,000s of debt, because that can really drag you down. Think about having a $500 or $1,000 payment every single month for 5 to 10 to 20 years. It's pretty crazy. It can really hold you back. But let's say you're buried in a little bit of financial debt right now. If you're paying more than a 2 or 3%, you need to be refinancing your loan. If it's through a government program right now, thankfully, you've had an interest-free, essentially last year with all of COVID going on. So that's been phenomenal for you. But if you have a private loan and you're paying more than 2 or 3, maybe even 4%, you definitely need to refinance your loan. I'm gonna put a link to Earnest here. Now, if you use the link, disclaimer, I'll get $200 off of my student loans, but great news is you'll actually get $200 off of your student loans. And the reason why I'm putting this out there is because this is the best rate that I've found on the internet for a very good program, and I've been very fortunate. I've been able to pay off most of my student loans, but I really wish that I would have had more information going into college, because it can really leave, once again, a financial burden on you. And I've seen over my career in finance and in sales, I've looked at a lot of people's credit reports before, and there's a lot of people out there, not just you, but a lot of people out there that are buried, absolutely buried in student debt. And if there's one thing I can really hope upon the people going into college now, is that maybe they see this video, or maybe they start to get more information when they're in high school in regards to how their college decision will impact their future financially. Because it's information that there's not even close to enough information out there about that. And school is expensive. It can be expensive as hell, especially if you're going to a private university. You're talking about $30,000 to $60,000 a year. Quite frankly, it's a little bit of a joke how much it costs, but make the right decision. So first, going into college, you're really going to want to do your due diligence and learn a little bit more, and I can surely drop some more information about videos on that. But let's say you have student debt right now. If you have a government loan, if you have 0%, stay with that as long as possible. Really dump as much money into that and pay it off, because these student debt forgiveness programs, the very difficult thing about this is if you plan on taking advantage of that student loan forgiveness, first and foremost, who knows if that's true? Who knows? right? But if you do the minimum payment and you don't miss a payment for 20 years, let's say they forgive your debt. Awesome. Phenomenal. You save money. But in the event that they don't forgive that debt, do the calculations. The minimum payment over the course of 20 years, you're essentially just taking care of the interest. So now you've paid a significant amount of money over the course of 20 years, and it has not done anything to the principal. And that's why I personally stayed away from that. It's going to take me another couple years to pay off my student loans, but I stayed away from that program just because I'm afraid that maybe they don't forgive those student loans. And the last thing I would want to do is pay someone $20,000, and now that was purely in just interest. And now I got to start all over again, you know, which is no bueno. So I would, you know, I would do your own DD on that. I personally decided to stay away with that. I really hope that gave you a little bit of insight about some things that you can do if you're going into college, but hopefully if you're out of college, some things you can do to refinance your loan, because the last thing you want to be doing is paying a high interest loan to some of these private or even government funded programs. Like, you should be getting damn near interest-free loans, and it'll save you quite a bit of money if you can erase that interest rate, and especially if you can take it down in half. I've seen a lot of student loans out there for, you know, 7 to 9%, which is crazy. It's criminal. But yeah, check out Earnest. They have a great platform, very easy to refinance. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.